Okay, all right. So we're going to get started, but first, before we get going, I do want to introduce you to one individual who is joining us today, and that is our studio manager, Jennifer Browning. Jennifer, if you don't mind opening your mic. And
good morning, everybody.
All right, I'm going to actually spotlight your video, Jen, for just 1 second. I just want her to, Jennifer, to say hi and to introduce herself so you can see her familiar face before we get started on Monday.
Hello, I'm Jennifer Browning, and I'm the manager, and my office is at South Jordan, even though I do manage the dance over at Draper as well. We're so thrilled to have you. We have been working hard all week long, getting the studio clean, getting our monitors up, getting all of our signs up, and making it easy and slick, and hopefully everybody's excited to come back to dance next week. So we're almost ready, and we'll be ready for you on Monday morning.
Thank you, Jen, so much. I appreciate that. Here, I'll pull you off of, let me get you off of really quick. You guys, I should have been practicing my skills here. I think I have you off of, no, of speaker view. Just 1 second. All right, okay, perfect. We've got you off, Jen, right there. Okay, we're gonna get started, you guys. And first of all, let me pop in, we're gonna do a screen share. I've got a PowerPoint. Lined up here. All right, perfect. Okay, well, first of all, like I said, this is our first family chat that we have done at UDA, but I hope that we will be doing a few more of these as we go on this year, at least 2 or 3 more. When we hit our recital, as we get closer to recital, we will definitely be joining together in a family chat, and also probably, well, I shouldn't, hopefully not, due to COVID reasons, continued COVID. So welcome everybody. Thank you so much for being here. I do want you to know, and I think it's important that I start out by stating there are many different ways that we communicate here at Utah Dance Artists. And it's really important that you know those ways, because with COVID, we definitely have had to increase our communication throughout the year. And I would imagine that this will be no different, as we are pretty much living in live time and making decisions as mandates come our way and things change. We have to pivot quickly. So really quick, make sure that your email is good, that our email is not going to your junk, and obviously that is not happening to you because you are joining us today. But it is our primary way of communicating. We also do a lot of communication on our social media platforms. So make sure, if you have, even right now, make sure you like us on Facebook and you're following us on Instagram. Even our UDA programs have Instagram pages where you can follow our stars and our varsity and conservatory programs. We also have an EPG program, but this year, right now, we're going to be starting that in January. 3 other ways of communicating. We have a monthly newsletter that will be coming out each and every month. Basically, it will detail the month ahead, sometimes 2 or 3 months ahead, but it gives you a nice overview of what's to come. We also have a Wednesday weekly email that comes out weekly. Jennifer Browning is the one that sends that out, and she bite sizes that monthly email into weeks. So she lets you know what's coming up that week, maybe the next week ahead. And then also on our social media, we are pretty much up to date on a daily basis, just like we were with this situation in regards to this meeting. All right, well, the first thing that I want to share with you parents is we're entering into a year that is unique, which is interesting. We're actually coming into our 20 year of business. And again, with the circumstances that we are in, the situation that we are in with COVID, it's important for me as the studio owner to let you know that we are on point and we are on course. UDA has worked really hard the past 20 years. We are known for setting a standard of excellence. That is what I attribute to our success. One of the big things, we actually, for those of you who do not know, we started out as a basement studio in my West Jordan home 20 years ago, and we have grown now to 2 locations, to the largest dance studio in Salt Lake City. And I do believe that this has a lot to do with our quality and the service that we provide, as well as the programming that we offer. But this current circumstance that we are in, it has only amplified our desire to greater serve the health and the safety of our dancers and our dancers' family, as well as our community that we live in. And so we have taken this very serious. We've been very thoughtful, and we've also been very thorough in our preparation, as we have been following best practices and recommendations of our local government, as well as safer studio guidelines from our National Industry Association with More Than Just Great Dancing. So I want to take a moment. Many of you maybe do not know about our national affiliation with More Than Just Great Dancing, but I think it's important to share this right now. It's very timely in the season that we're in with COVID, but UDA is one of 300 dance studios in the United States, throughout the United Kingdom, as well as Australia and Canada. We are one of 300 that are licensed. It's an international affiliation that credits dance studios from around the world for aligning to a higher standard of instruction, as well as business and management practices. And back in 2014, you can kind of see some of these stills up here. 2014, UDA was the first studio in Utah to become accredited with this organization. And we became the charter member at that time. In 2018, 4 years later, UDA became classified as an executive member of this program, one of 80 in the 300. And then about that same time, I was also invited to be one of 40 out of those 300 to be a certified coach for this industry, which basically serves the dance industry at large. Now, the reason why I share this with you and why this is important, it goes back to, again, the situation that we are in. I don't know if I can, I think when I have my PowerPoint up, I'm not able to see the entire group. I have like 3 faces on my screen right now. But for those of you who were with UDA last year, and when we had to close our studio in March, I am so grateful that we were under the association with More Than Just Great Dancing, because it has served as our compass as we have continued moving forward, and when we were serving you then. So just quickly, back during that time, as soon as we closed our studio doors, I was able to get on the phone with 300 other studio owners on a daily basis for 2.5 months, where we were able to talk and strategize and make sure that we were charting a course of sustainment and also survival. And so those of you who were with us, if you remember, we took 1 week off. We took our spring break early, and in 1 week, we were also probably the first studio in Utah, one of the first, who was live streaming 250 dance classes in 1 week. We didn't skip a beat. We just took our break early, and we continued, and we were able to sustain and also to survive to the end of the year. We kept our promise of having a recital. It was reimagined 3 different times, but in the end, we not only had it, but we were able to provide a recital that everybody could participate in, whether they chose to do a virtual recital or an in-person recital. So this has been no different. This continues to be my navigation system. It roots us not just nationally, but internationally. So I am able to talk to a lot of people and get lots of ideas, and have a big bandwidth of support and strength. So this summer, we actually temporarily we closed, we took a pause so that we could come up with a strong health and safety plan for our continued survival and sustainment for this year. And so, so similar to last year, we're the first studio in Salt Lake City to tech enable our entire facility so that we can also support all of our dancers this year in dance education, whether that's going to be live or through a virtual live streaming education. All right, you guys. I wanted to share that because I think it gives you a lot of comfort. It gives me great comfort to know that we can navigate through this comfortably and stay right on point and on course. All right, as we are getting closer to discussing all the information that went out, the other thing that I want to let you parents know, and I think it is important, that we met as an entire studio family last week at our Draper studio. It was a 2-day event. All of our dance teachers, our administrative staff members, our customer care team members, we met for our annual, we usually call it the fall launch, but this year we changed it to our leadership rally. And this year we took the theme of leadership and we changed that to the way we're pronouncing that is lead your ship. And I want you to know what has taken place with your teachers who are going to be caretaking your children at the dance studio or online. But we talked to the teachers about this year. They are the captain of the ship. They are the captain in the classroom when they're with your kids. And as many of you know, when there is a ship out on the water, the captain and the crew, they do not refer to their passengers as passengers. They refer to them as souls. And we talked to our teachers about they have, as a captain of their ship, they are a steward over the students who are in their room, and that they're looking at them as souls and knowing how important it is to keep the health and safety measures for your children while they are in our care. So on Friday, it was all classroom focused. We met with all of our teachers. In fact, you know what, let me just show you. I have a couple pictures of that event last week. If you guys can see my cursor here. Many of you probably know Miss Kaylin. She's one of our most beloved teachers with our preschool and pre-K, well, even older dancers. She did a lot of training for us. And then as you see this big TV, this is actually like a 75-inch TV in Draper. This is part of our tech support that we have this year, and all of our crew joining in that studio. But on Saturday, we just met with our teachers and we talked about the classroom specifically for 4 hours. We did teacher training, we reviewed our syllabi this year, talked about class planning, as well as the importance of setting up a strong foundation for your dancers' behavior and technique so that we can further layer training upon that. And then on Saturday, we spent the day talking about COVID health and safety. And basically, a lot of that is what you received in your second parent guide. I do want to mention that right now. You all should have received a parent guide upon registering. That should have been emailed to you, which is separate from what you just received, with the addendum to that guide with the COVID information. All right, well, you guys, we are going to dive in finally. I just wanted to share a few of those things. I felt that it was important, or again, my goal today is to make sure that you are feeling comfortable and excited about starting the new year. And I felt that those things were pertinent to making that goal happen. So we're going to break this down into 3 areas. The first is our responsibility, our COVID responsibility. The second is, what is the second? Operational changes that we've made. And then the third is what we are doing for our health and safety measures, and last, communication. So what I'd like to do is, this is going to be broken into 4 different sections. I didn't share this at the beginning, but the chat bar that, or again, the chat box that you have access to, any questions that you have while I am talking, I want you to type those in the chat box. If you don't mind, preface it with question just so Jennifer Browning, she's actually going to be facilitating all of the questions throughout this meeting. And so she will know that there's a question there, and she's going to monitor those and make sure that if we have duplicate questions or similar questions, she can kind of gather those together. And I'm going to break 4 different times throughout this to answer those questions. And so let me think really quick if I'm giving you all, I will have Jennifer Browning facilitate those, however, and then if I feel like I need to open a parent's box, I will let you know to unmute, and then we can chat between the 2 of us in front of everybody. All right? Okay, let's get started. All right, first of all, and I'm not, we're gonna move through this pretty quickly. You guys have all the information at home, but as we're talking about COVID responsibility, every single person who is a part of our dance studio at this moment, whether it is our administrative staff, our teachers, our parents, us as individuals, we have a responsibility for not only our own health and safety, but the health and safety of others. So please make sure as the parent that you are not sending your dancer to the studio if they are having any of these, facing any of these, or if they're experiencing any of these symptoms. It's better if you doubt, let's just sit out and take a little break that day to make sure that everybody stays healthy. And as I'm pertaining this information to you and your dancer, please know that this information all pertains to our staff as well as our faculty, and they have been apprised of this as well. Now, I want to go through this quickly. There's a lot of questions, that are coming up, how we're going to facilitate, if we do get a COVID, if we have a dancer who has COVID, are we proceeding, keeping our space open? How are we going to move forward with classes? And so I want to be very clear with that right now. If your dancer does get COVID-19, that is the only time that is the only reason that you need to give us a call. Not if your kid has had a close contact or for any other reason. The only time we need a phone call is when your child has been tested positive for COVID-19. And if that is the case, we want your child to stay home from dance and self-isolate until these 3 things happen. Their symptoms disappear. It has been at least 10 days, at least that is what is being said now. I'm telling you what, you guys, this COVID climate, these mandates change all the time. So if the local government comes out and changes that to 14 days, and that is what we'll be following. But right now that it's been 10 days until they got sick or they tested positive, and that they've been fever free for 24 hours. That's a big indication. And then that is one of the reasons that your child would temporarily jump into online streaming for their classes from home, is if they are not able to come in because they are in isolation or in quarantine at that time. Secondly, and I'll include again our teachers and our staff members, if any of us test positive, you know what? I've got to figure this out, guys, because, all right, I guess I'm not even talking to any faces at the time. I've got to move the faces so I can see my screen. Okay. Anyway, if anybody, again, tests positive for COVID, UDA, this is how we will be following suit. First of all, we will be protecting the privacy of the individual who tests positive. Please, if parents are asking, well, can you please tell us? I'm letting you know right now, we will follow the guidelines of keeping privacy with that individual. We will be reaching out to the infected individual and the teacher to ensure that a close contact exposure did not occur. Now, what I mean by close contact exposure, it is defined as an individual who was within 6 feet of an infected person for at least 15 minutes.
Need to get a bigger car. I can't fix it.
Just a moment, we've got someone's mic off of mute. If you don't mind putting that back on, thank you. Anyway, for at least 15 minutes, starting from 2 days prior to the illness onset until the time the patient is isolated. We will notify all individuals, meaning parents. We'll be calling parents and letting you know if your child had close contact exposure with someone who tested positive for COVID. But what we will not be doing is notifying parents, teachers, employees in the studio if someone did test positive, but your child was not exposed. And once again, we're referencing to close contact, or the close contact exposure, which I just defined. One thing to take note is when a dancer has a close contact exposure with a family member or a friend from school or dance, if the dancer was not with this person 2 days prior to their illness onset, there is no need for your dancer at that time to self-quarantine. But if the dancer was with this person 2 days prior to their illness onset, we do want that child to stay quarantined. Now, oh my goodness, you guys, I'll tell you what, I did not, just one moment. Jennifer, will you pop in for just a moment and share something while I go put my dogs in my room? I'm sorry, guys. I need to go get them. They're naughty. And I don't have my spray. I ran out of my barking spray. Just a moment, please. Come on, guys.
I will try to facilitate the chat, and I'll try to respond to you. And I think I just responded privately to Nicole a couple of times, and I wanted to talk to Laura Miller was wondering about preschool communication, and I know Shireen will be hopefully I'll talk to Shireen today and email her and ask her to make sure the parents get a email wondering what's going on with preschool on Monday. So Laura, I'll go ahead and make sure that that happens, and that you that are part of our Creative Arts Preschool understand and know exactly what you're doing and when your parent orientations are and when school actually starts.
Thanks, Jen. I keep thinking I'm taking care of everything, but you know what? Forgot about those dogs. If someone comes outside, they're going to start barking. All right, let me minimize again so I can see my screen. Okay. Also, okay, let me go back here, you guys, just so I can catch. Okay, so we're continuing to talk about the close contact exposure. If your child does have a close contact exposure, and I do want to let you know, parents, this is, you are in charge of your children. The only people I can really be in charge of is our faculty. I can set expectations and hold them accountable to those expectations. This is simply sharing and restating that we all have a part to play in coming back to dance and keeping our dancers healthy. And so, of course, this is our encouragement to our parents to help with that. But parents, if a close contact exposure does happen, we want your child to stay home from dance and self-quarantine for 14 days. Again, this is government, this is their mandate. From the last date of exposure, symptoms of COVID-19 can appear 2 to 14 days after an exposure. Therefore, if one self-quarantines, they're less likely to infect anyone else without knowing it. And while they're in quarantine, check their COVID symptoms every day during that time. If they start to get sick, that would be a reason for them to self-isolate and also get tested at that time. And then if your child doesn't seem to get sick, as we all know, many children are asymptomatic, but please continue to keep them in quarantine for those 2 weeks. That is, again, why we have invested in our tech facilities so that they can still join us in class from home. And last but not least, that is what I just said. Have them temporarily attend classes live from home. All right. So that right there, okay, this is tricky when I'm online because I can't just go back and forth from, so Jen, at least I can see you, and you're going to facilitate these questions. And then if I need to, I can get back out of my screen and pop back into my, my PowerPoint. So Jen, go ahead and navigate any of those or facilitate any of those questions that we've had so far.
So there were 2 questions. What constitutes the close contact? And so just in general, the CDC they trace through those that have been in close contact, meaning closer than 6 feet for more than 15 minutes. And then the other part of that question was, are we reducing the sizes of our dancers in our classes? And the answer would be yes. We are putting circles in every studio, and every studio is a different size. And so we have a different number that will fit into each studio. And so, yep, we've made sure that The dancers will be able to maintain their 5 to 6 feet radius and dance within their squares. And then just depending on which studio A obviously has the most, we can put up to 16 kids in there. Clear down to studio E and F, there can only be 8. So yep, we've made all of those arrangements.
Yeah, let me piggyback on that. So this summer, Jennifer Browning actually went into all of our studios and she measured them to make sure that we had the adequate, 6-foot distance space in our facility and we figured out how many students we can have in a room based upon the square footage that we had. And so all of our studios, it's either an 8-person studio, 10, 12, or 14. And we'll be talking about our social distancing circles in just a moment. But yes, we have limited our class sizes so that they cannot exceed the limits of what we can have in that class without staying within the safety mandates and recommendations. Anything else, Jen? Is that it?
Yep, that's it for now. Keep going.
Okay. All right, let's move right along. Next, we're going to be talking about the operational changes that are taking place at the studio. And one thing I want to share before we dive into this, parents, is keep in mind, these are temporary adjustments that we have to make for where we're at right now facing COVID-19. As soon as the climate changes and we start going back into heading towards green, we will go back to our normal way of operating. But again, these are our temporary adjustments. All right, so let's talk about arrival and departure in the lobby. All teachers, and you know what? Okay, all teachers, staff, parents, dancers, everybody right now is required to wear a mask inside UDA facilities. Now, I understand that there are people who are not able to wear masks. I'm not referring to them, and we'll talk about that in just a moment, but that we want everybody to be taking responsibility once again by wearing a mask. All of our teachers and staff are required to wear a mask as we get started back up again. Now, this is optional for our dancers 18 months to kindergarten age. However, if they can wear a mask, what's been interesting when I shared my affiliation with More Than Just Great Dancing, we actually have, I keep talking to myself over here and I just need to look in the screen, right, Jen? Like if I'm looking ahead, I'm now really talking to people. All right, I need to get better at this, you guys. But anyway, with More Than Just Great Dancing and my communication with dance studio owners across the nation, their best mask wearers are their little preschool dancers. And that it's just become a part of their routine. They put on their masks to go to the grocery store. It's now this, added accessory, whereas it's harder for these older kids sometimes to be wearing masks. So if your young dancer can wear a mask, that would be wonderful, that they can also help with keeping everybody healthy. Like the question that was just asked, yes, we are limiting dancers in our studios, but not just our studios, but in our building as a whole. And those of you who have been at our South Jordan facility last year or in years prior, the lobby is extremely small and it gets very packed to where you cannot keep a 6-foot distance if you want to. At times you're like little sardines packed in a can. And so this is why some of these operational changes are only going to be for the South Jordan studio due to that very reason. Now, only parents and dancers of our Tippy Twos, Dance With Me, preschool and pre-kindergarten classes are going to be able to, at this time, enter into the front main doors of the studio and into the lobby area, accompanying their child. So parents of level 1 dancers, all right guys, hold on a second. I don't need to tell you everything I'm doing. I'm minimizing again here. Parents of level 1 through advanced dancers are not allowed to wait for their child or observe their child's classes in the lobby area at this time. Parents can observe their child's dance classes live through UDA's tech-enabled facilities, And parents may also come through the front doors if they need to speak with a customer care representative, as long as they're wearing a mask. But as soon as they get their questions answered, we're asking parents to clear out. And this is really important. Jennifer and I were actually just talking about this just yesterday. I believe that, it takes 10 people a night when we have 6 classes going on, right? 10, 15 parents that feel like maybe that rule will not apply to them and they can come in the lobby. But the second, I'm going to tell you what, okay, so keep that in mind. When we met with the teachers last Saturday, we in depth talked about how critical it is for the first 2 weeks or first month of class to hold your ground with our behavior policy, or holding the classroom rules nice and tight and letting the kids know where, that there is not a large bandwidth. That has become now a big word in my vocabulary, that the leash is tight, not in a bad way, but they know that they need to follow the classroom rules. And so we're going to extend that now to parents, that, it takes 10 parents, 15 parents that feel that the rule does not apply. And now we have 15 parents in the lobby intermingled with those dancers who have to wait between classes. And that will completely dissolve the safety that we are trying to uphold, and the health and safety. So at this time, these parents, you're not allowed in the lobby at this time. Now, in the South Jordan location only, advanced dancers, level 1 through advanced dancers are not allowed to enter into the building through the front main doors. Dancers are going to be entering into the studios where their classes actually happen. And so here's a picture right now. Studio A, it's all ready to go. We have 6 studios at the South Jordan facility. Every studio has its own exit door, and those will be your entry points, or your dancers' entry points, as they go into class and when they leave class and when you pick them up. So let's talk about drop off and pick up. Dancers who are 18 months through kindergarten, again, they are, this applies to both studios. They are able to, okay, let me back up. Parents of these dancers, we want you to park your car, walk your child in through the main doors of the studio and help them get ready for dance. Again, in our current condition, we should not be helping facilitate getting your child ready for their class. So we do want you to come in. Now, parents who have preschool age dancers between the ages of 3 and 4 who still need restroom assistance, you need to be available to them if they need help. If you have a perfectly capable 3-year-old who can go to the restroom by themselves and wash their hands and get their tights and leotard back on, this does not apply to you. But for those of you who need to help your child, we need you there to facilitate their restroom, to use the restroom if they need that. So for those parents, you have 2 options. You can return to your car and work and do what you need to. We've got your phone number. We can text and give you a call if you're needed, or you can stay in the lobby and remain seated using the physical distancing markers that we have. Now, that doesn't mean, again, keep in mind, as a business owner who is putting out policy, sometimes this might seem very unhuman or realistic, or that I'm drawing some really hard lines. We're using common sense. We say this because, again, sitting and using the physical distancing markers is, again, just to keep everybody safe. You can absolutely go up and watch your child dance, but as long as, again, we're maintaining that 6-foot distance, no longer do we have the congregating of 5 moms right tight together, chit-chatting with each other. We are asking for you to stay socially distant. Physically distant is actually what we should be calling it. All right, drop off and pick up continued. Again, referring to the 18 months through kindergarten dancers, both in Draper and South Jordan. Parents who choose to wait in the studio, you are strongly encouraged to keep young children at home. Now, I know that this is not always the case, right? Like, we don't just have babysitters when we go anywhere with our children. So if this is not possible, for the consideration of other parents who will be there, and keep in mind, there's a wide range of levels of comfort and everybody's comfort level. And so as a business, we are trying to meet everybody's needs in the best way possible. So if you do need to bring your children or a baby or another child with you, we will be providing a space, which will be one of our dance studios, for you to go in and to sit quietly with your children in a social distancing square that we will be using for our preschool dancers, and you can stay in there and do quiet activities, just so that we are making everybody feel comfortable. Parents of pre-kindergarten dancers who use restroom facilities independently, we do ask that you do leave the building out of consideration for, again, trying to keep everything nice and tight, and return to pick them up when it has been their last class. So if they do have a ballet and jazz, tap jazz back to back, we can facilitate, if they're independent to use the restroom, they can change their shoes. We'll talk more about that, but we do ask that you follow that protocol. All right, so in South Jordan. Whew. All right, so this is only applicable now to the South Jordan facility, but we are not talking about the preschool dancers anymore. This is level 1 through the 12th, first grade through the 12th grade. Dancers need to be dropped off in the designated area, parking lot area that is next to the studio of their first class that will be held that evening. Parents, I can't stress enough, under these conditions and these temporary operation modifications that are taking place, that we need you to drop your children off on time, and we need you to pick them up on time, especially as they are going in and out through a parking lot facility. Once our teachers facilitate the entrance of all of their students, that door will be shut. It does not open. The kids are going to have to knock. The teacher will need to stop the class and repeat the check-in procedure that we have set in place. And then again, at the end of the day, as you can imagine, when the teacher is waiting for the kids to get in their car, and as it gets darker, we need parents to pick up their kids. I will probably answer some of your questions as we move forward, but I wanted to impress upon your minds the importance of that. So Jennifer Browning, she sent out an email this last week, which included this parking map. And this is the South Jordan facility. If you look at it straight on, I have my cursor here. It's just as it is from the street. The very back right here is that garbage dumpster. This is the front of the building. This is how we enter. We like you to enter coming in this way, down this road, coming in through this entrance. And then there is a Studio F back here. The door is actually on the north side of the building. We want those cars to be, again, you can park wherever you want, but as we proceed with the protocol we are following, you will see why we want you in certain places. Studio D, anywhere in this area will be great, but your student will be entering this door. We actually have a big storage facility right here, or a container, a big storage container, or a couple of them. And so in C, it's kind of hard to see the Studio C, but using that center parking area. Then we have kind of where the UDA trailer sits. Again, on the east side of the building, Studio B is right here. We ask those parents to use this parking lot area. This is your drop-off pickup lane, which you will not be using at all right now. And then, of course, our studio, this would be the entrance doors right here. Studio A, the entrance, parents parking up here. At Studio E, we want our teachers and our customer care to be parking over here, so everybody has adequate parking. And keep in mind that parents, we are planning everything right now, and sometimes when we jump in, we see that things should be facilitated differently, or maybe there's a better idea. As we always welcome parents' suggestions and ideas. If you can see a better way of doing things, we are used to pivoting constantly in this situation. All right, so continuing on with our drop-off and pickup protocol. Dancers in the 1st through 12th grades, again, this is applicable to South Jordan only. I keep re-emphasizing that, so there's no confusion for those of you who are bringing your children to the Draper Studio. Teachers are going to be using signs, red and green emoji face signs, to facilitate the entering and the exiting of the dancers from the studio into the parking lot area safely. So here is a nice little picture. We did just a little quick photo shoot the other day at the studio. But as you can see, this would be on the end, at the rear of a class when a teacher is exiting the dancers from the studio. She will be coming out. We have bungee cords that will open those studio doors and keep them open. But she will be walking out and facing the direction where you should be parking or where your kids will be, where you will be waiting to enter the class. You will hold up that sign nice and big. And basically what that means is that all vehicles in that general area, they need to stop because dancers are going to be entering the parking lot area. We want parents to, before they proceed with their car, just to wait for the exiting dancers to return to their vehicles and the parking lot's clear. And this is the same for the dancers who are in the next class and who will be entering the building. Now, this is the same for entering the class. Teachers are going to come out, and so let's take that into context. The teacher comes out and she's holding the red sign. All dancers who are in the next class, they're still waiting in their car until the teacher now changes the sign and she holds it up with the green sign, which now means that she is ready for the new group of dancers to enter into the classroom. That time, dancers can get out of the vehicle and they can start heading towards the building quickly to the sidewalk area. Teachers will reemphasize these, all of these procedures with your students on the first day of class, but we also ask that you parents take the time as well for their added safety. At that time, we want our vehicles to proceed with caution, wait for the dancers to clear the pavement before they proceed. Now, dancers who, you will be getting an email. Jen, I'm trying to remember, was that already sent or that's being sent today? Oh goodness, let me find your face, Jen. I gotta pop you back open here. Okay.
Yeah, I'm chatting with a few of you. They're having the same question. So I've started emailing our preschool and kindergartner, our little ones already. So some of you already have yours, but the rest of them will all go out today.
And parents, thank you for your patience. I'll tell you what, as we talked about this with our teachers, basically what we are doing is taking a 20-year-long business that we have built our policies and our procedures and our routines. Everything was strong and steady, and we are pivoting in every single area of the business. So as we are moving along, we are basically recreating a brand new studio, not a little basement dance studio, but a huge ship that is turning against the current and moving towards it. And so we are in real time. I'll probably keep using that word, that we're in real time. We can't plan too far ahead. We're just in the moment. And so because of the workload that's happening behind the scenes, sometimes we're getting things to you in the nick of time, just like this meeting today. I wish I could have had this to you a couple of weeks, or we would have facilitated this a few weeks ago. But anyway, your dancer needs to be picked up in the in the area of their last studio. Again, just like Jen said, you will be getting all of that information today, so you are well informed and you know of where that is going to be. Now, let's talk about those dancers who need to wait in between class because they have, an hour break before their next class. First of all, I do want to let you know that when we build the schedule every year, we are always trying to build it, particularly this year, with options where a dancer does not have to wait. All of the classes are, if it's a level 5-6 dancer, those classes are back to back so that there does not need to be waiting time. However, in some situations that it does not work out that way. And so we will have dancers that will need to wait and stay. And we want your parents to know that they are welcome. We will watch over them. We will also make sure that they're following our studio protocol. But those dancers who will stay, they do not need to exit the building and walk around the studio to find the door of the next studio. They will be able to come in, use the lobby area and the hallways and wait. And so here's a picture of some of our social distancing spots for parents to be seated or for dancers in between class times. We do ask that these dancers put on a mask when they enter the lobby area, and that they do use one of these social distancing markers, especially with the kids. It just helps them to know where they need to be. And, you know, this is for our teachers who might be joining the call, or our administrative staff. Just like our teachers, we talked about those, the first couple weeks, it's really important that these kids know that their little distancing markers are for them to sit on. So there's no question like, I don't know where to be, I don't know what to do. Our office staff will be very particular on having these kids stay seated in these locations. You know, I don't think there's any dancer that has like a 2-hour break, but they can sit quietly and do homework or read a book. So going on, again, with those dancers, they're not going to be allowed to roam the halls. Now, that doesn't mean that they can't get up and use the restroom, right? Or maybe stand up and take a little walk. But what I'm talking about is getting with a group of kids in the back kitchen, playing games, laughing, talking. That's not going to be allowed. Dancers will be expected to bring an activity that can be done while staying seated in the lobby. So parents, please be mindful if this is your child, and equip them to be able to do this starting on Monday. We will allow dancers to bring a healthy snack to eat in between the classes, but we ask that they do not share it with others. Many facilities will not allow food, but you know, while these kids are dancing, again, we're going back to common sense and reality. They have to be able to eat. And the dancers can remove their mask to eat, but they need to keep that 6-foot distance from others, put their mask back on as quickly as possible, and throw away all of their trash. And what in the world? I've got like some crazy script writing on my slide here, and even down here. I don't even know how that happened. Parents of dancers who take multiple classes a night, the rule still applies that you will be picking up your child at the last studio, the last class that they are in of the evening. They will not be coming through the lobby doors to wait for you. And once again, I know in the warm weather and in the light, you know, we have had students who have made their way over to the drop-off pickup area where, you know, parents pick up their children. That's, you know, I'll tell you what, parents, as I'm talking about this, there are things that I have not maybe thought all the way through. And so this is a good test for me as well. You know, once again, we do want our parents to pick their kids up on time. So in those general areas, so our teachers can see that those kids have been picked up. Right now, the protocol is if a child is not picked up, immediately that child will be able to again come through the studio lobby and be seated at a social distancing marker and wait for their child or their parent to come and pick them up. And I think we'll stick with that policy rather than having them head over to the drop-off pickup area where you can just drive by and pick them up, just so that we can keep everybody safe. All right, continuing on operation changes. This is our biggest area, guys. We're almost to questions here. So I'm so excited about tech enabling our studio. I want you parents to know that we did this and it's a huge investment, but we've done it because we feel that this is the answer to many of the issues that we could possibly encounter. It also sets us up for great things that we can do ahead that we haven't even tapped into yet, such as these great virtual meetings. But I want to just explain what the facilities offer. Each of our 10 studios are equipped now with a wide lens camera that sits above the big TV on the wall. So in the fall, when we were doing Zoom classes, most of our teachers were using very small iPads. And so your child's view of the teacher was like, you know, their face and their body. It was just really nice and tight, which actually can be nice. However, dancers don't really feel like they're standing in a dance studio with all of the dancers, and they can look at the studio as if they were in the studio. So our tech-enabled facilities allow a dancer with that camera to see 90% of the studio so that they feel like they're in the room with the teacher, with the students. They can see everything going on, so they feel more a part of that classroom experience. You guys, what would this be? Anyone in the chat, I would be interested if you know what's going on with my computer right here, because look, every time I change a slide, it's still there. I would love to know what's going on. That will be crazy. That will bother me. Okay, so going right along, every studio has a large studio or a large TV. Our studios that hold up to 14 dancers. I think it's 14, yeah. Anyway, those are 75-inch TVs. And then we also have 65-inch TVs and 55 for our very small studios, but they're large. So a teacher can definitely see the students who are participating from home. In every class, a teacher is wearing a lapel mic. We practice this on Saturday. It's so awesome because, again, if you were with us in the fall, our teachers would be speaking in the classroom and the music might be playing, and you know, everything was not cohesively coming through the same wiring. So again, maybe the students could not hear the teacher or they could not hear the music. All of that is resolved now. Everything is wired the same. And so if your dancer is at home, whether that is, you know, due to a snow day or a sick day or through quarantine, or maybe parents, you know, I don't know if you've thought about this, but there just might be a day that you're not feeling like you want to do carpool and you'd rather have your child join class online. Guess what? That is an option. But your child will be able to fully hear the teacher speak because they will be speaking in a microphone, even over the music. It will all facilitate through the same wiring. And both of our locations have also been enhanced with a hardwired internet connection. Last fall, in the spring, when we started doing Zoom classes, we did have internet, obviously, but we did not have our facility hardwired. So there tend to be glitches or you know, digital interference. That should not happen now with what we have, the backing. It will also increase the virtual security measures that are so important. All right. Okay, going on with these tech-enabled facilities, let's talk about what this allows you as parents, how it allows you to make a choice. First of all, like I said at the very beginning, this does make it so that everybody can participate in dance education this year if they choose, no matter what their comfort level or their health situation or the family situation or the individual circumstance. Everybody can comfortably do that through our tech-enabled facilities. This will allow a seamless transition. This year, if we continue and all of a sudden all of the kids are back in school and everybody goes home and it is back to red temporarily, we will be able to facilitate classes very easily in that situation. So basically it provides security to keep everybody going, no matter the current government mandate or risk level that we are in. It will provide you a choice, again, on how your child participates. You can choose to be at the studio 99% of the time, where the virtual backing is like your flat tire, right? Once again, if something happens, it is always something that you can turn to. Or we do have parents this year who are opting in only to do virtual classes, or you can go back and forth between the two. And once again, it does allow our parents to log in and observe their child's dance class at any time and anywhere. One thing I thought about this morning as I was getting ready and thinking about all of this material, please, parents, if you do log in to watch your child's class, keep your video off. So our teachers do not have a full TV of 5 parents' faces watching in the classroom, which they also keep in mind that all of this is new for them. We have new teachers at Utah Dance Artists this year who are fabulous, but this is their first time at the studio. We want to make sure that they also feel very comfortable and excited about coming and starting classes on Monday, not that we're going to have parents sitting there on the TV watching them the whole time. So make sure that we're keeping them comfortable as well. So in the end, you guys, you have 2 choices for classes. You can take classes from home or at the studio, and we feel that this is just a great option or a great service. And, you know, parents, as not to do like a sales pitch or anything right now, but truly right now, if you have friends or acquaintances, people that you know who would like to get their kids into dance, and maybe, again, I think a lot of the things that we've been advertising on Facebook, it's not quite clear. People don't really understand what that means. But now that you understand and you have, you know, we're talking about this, that you share that with others so that they have an option if they want their kids to continue to dance, but they don't see that there is an option this year. All right, so let's take a pause and do some questions here with the operation changes. I do hear a mic open.
Brooke, can you hear me?
Oh, maybe it's you, Jen. Might be you. And you know what, Jen? Feel free to facilitate those questions to me. I mean, you're more than welcome to answer them as well. But let's start those questions.
We have two moms that go to our creative arts preschool and dance. And they are wondering if the creative arts preschool is tech enabled. Do they have that option to be in and out however they please?
Yes, 100%. I would suggest to you parents to reach out to Shireen Winkle just to completely understand how they are facilitating that, but they are using our tech-enabled facilities also. And I will say this, we, just really quick, we do have a microphone that is open. Jen, I don't think that that's yours, it's someone else's. I'm just hearing the echoing and the reverb, if you can just check. But right now we are frantically continuing everything in South Jordan. I think it is up now, but in Draper we still need to get a few TVs set up. We, as you know, in Draper it's our creative arts preschool, but it is also a different, it provides opportunities for different programs at UDA. Our competitive program dancers are there and they dance throughout the month of August. They actually jumped into classes in July. Many of you maybe have seen some of those pictures on Facebook, but they are having their intensive this week. And because of that, we have not had the freedom to have all of our workers go in to do the hardwiring and to mount the TVs, and it's a lot of work. So we're a little bit behind on that. I know that Jennifer has already reached out to those few who are at the Draper facility. Preschool starts later, like on the 24th or something like that, and dance starts on Monday. However, we still need to get up a few of those TVs at Draper. So if you are at the Creative Arts Preschool and you are taking dance and you are choosing to do your classes online or through live streaming, just know that that will not be possible probably for the next 2 weeks, but we will credit your account for those classes and you can join us and we will notify you when those facilities are ready and up and going. So sorry, long spiel to answer that one question, but yes, but please talk to Shireen because I don't know if they are flexible about you going in and out, on a whim whenever you choose. But yes, that is how online preschool will be going this year because we do have kids who've chosen that option as well. Is that it, Jen? Was there any more?
Oh, okay, we just have a couple more questions here. So those of you that need leotards and tights and shoes and you didn't make it to our merchandise open house, you can come during office hours with physical distancing in place. So we'll allow one person at the counter at a time, but if there's just too many people, it's like when you go to the store nowadays. I went to REI and we have to wait outside and kind of wait your turn to come in. Well, I mean, it's going to be hard to facilitate that, making sure we only have so many people in the lobby, but it really is a small lobby. And so we're going to try and help one at a time. So you can come. I would be better to come during a day that your dancer's not starting class right at 4 o'clock and you show up right at 4 o'clock, it won't happen. You won't get your card in time. So if you can come a different day and be patient and wait your turn, we would love to help you. But we will on Saturday mornings from 9 till noon, we will have our merchandise open every Saturday in the morning. So you can also come then. There was another question about Suzanne. Let's see. No, that was for Suzanne. Somebody had a question about their daughter on a wait list and wondering if classes was going to start on Monday. Hang on, let me see if I can find you again. Oh, here we go. For Suzanne Glee. I'm not sure. I'm looking your account up right now. Is that for Remy? We have Ryder in hip hop, and that class will be going I'm not sure what beginning jazz class is, so I will give you a personal phone call as soon as our Zoom chat is over, and we'll get you all figured out. Let's see, what other questions do we have? All dance classes start on Monday, even in Draper. So preschool, next week you'll have your parent orientation. That's a specific time, and you hopefully been emailed those times. And then actually Creative Arts Preschool starts the following Wednesday, but dance classes do start on Monday. The Draper Studio same has some merchandise items as well. They're stocked and ready to go, and we'll do the same thing. We'll have a parent come to the counter one at a time and have everybody else distance themselves, and we'll help you as we can, but to try not to they have dance. Then next question.
Jen, can I just real quick, I think someone's mic's on. Do you hear that, you guys?
A little bit.
Just the shifting. If anybody who is joining this meeting right now, please take a moment and make sure that your mic is muted. Thank you so much.
So Amy asked if they want to do virtual for a little while before they come into class. Yes, but I really would like them to email me or call me and let me know so I can tell the teacher that your child is going to be on virtual. And then they can look for her and talk with her and communicate with her. And so if that's what you would like to do, please email me really quick, and I'd be happy to let your teacher know that that's what you want to do at first. Michelle says, my daughter's interested in the EPG class. Can she take this home live streaming? So that we have restructured EPG because all of our Christmas performances got canceled. And so they're doing more of a choreography class, and Miss London has asked that is not streamed. It's more of a schoolroom class and more individual attention. And so she wants that to be an in-person class. V White says, did we cover, are we taking our temperatures? Yes.
I'm getting there. That's our next section. Just
Okay.
FYI.
I'll go ahead and let you finish then.
Okay, I'm going to jump into our next section here. But we're going to be talking about precautionary measures. But parents, just with your questions and having a minute to think here and stop talking for a moment, there were a few things that came to mind that I do want to share. You know, when we talk about having the opportunity to go in and out of classes, these virtual classes, or in and out, making that choice, keep in mind that, and we all know this, that structure, when we have a structure, I think our teachers are able to do a better job because they can prepare. They know what's, 90% of the time they know what's happening. They know what students are going to be in the classroom, who is going to be online. And so we do, maybe my comment wasn't so great when I'm like, yeah, if you just don't want to take your kids to dance that day, just pop in online. I mean, yes, that is your choice. But when I'm really looking from all points of view and for teachers, they're going to want to know, they plan their classes ahead of time. That's part of their job. And so if they really, they don't know how many kids are going to be in the class that day, how many are online, they will not be able to do as good a job as they can with that. So like Jen said, and we'll talk about that in a moment, it is important that our office does know, and that might be that if you are a 50%er in or out, but really take the season that we're in and make that decision. But we do, when we get to recital, and we'll talk about that at the very end, we do need dancers to be in class at some point. You're making that commitment that they're going to be in the classroom with their students, but you have time to still make that choice. The other thing that I did want to just let parents know, you know, it's so interesting, you guys. All of us, we have such a different lens depending on if we're a parent, studio owner, Jen Browning, but every year, without fail, for 19 years, when we start back to classes, there is an adjustment period without COVID, right? I mean, kids are back in school. That just adding dance onto that alone, it just throws everything off a little bit. Our teachers, same thing. They're back into class. They got comfortable with the class by the end of the year. Well, now they have new students. They're trying to watch all of them and see where the equal playing field is so that they know how to continue to class plan. So usually when dancers come in for the first month, I start getting emails from parents. I think that this class is too easy for my child. And I have to remind them, nope, right now we've taken a break. The teachers, for at least a good month, they're trying to, you know, get the feel of all of the kids in the classroom. So adding COVID and our precautionary measures and our operational changes and everything now that is a part of this year, please be patient with us. It's going to take these teachers. They haven't done all of this. They haven't put the education and knowledge that they have yet to test or to work. And so we have made the plan and we have planned the work, and now we have to work the plan, but that part cannot happen until we start classes. So be mindful of that. We want to hear your concerns. We want to hear them, but know that everything is not going to be perfect. It's going to take a good month, I think, to be pretty solid in all of these things. All right, let's dive into the precautionary measures here. All right, getting ready for class. Parents, I know that kids come from school, right? And they usually will pop in the bathroom and we'll change their clothes and get everyone ready. But we are asking, just like we did with our red carpet event, you know, maybe the car is where the kids need to change. I need to draw a line at some point that our bathroom and our restroom facilities, they are not going to be used for dressing rooms right now. Dancers need to get ready before they come, before they arrive to the dance studio. Again, they will be entering in through the studio, each individual studio. And we do want our female dancers to have their hair up in a ponytail or a bun, whatever the class dress code is for their particular class. Again, to help facilitate our safety measures. Now, for those of you who are in our young children classes from 18 months with our Dance With Me kids, all the way up to our pre-K kindergarten dancers, you are required to purchase a prop bag. And unfortunately, first of all, when we sent out the parent guide, again, this was not something that I had totally thought about and put into place. And so this was something that happened after, but I hope that this is something that is worth the investment. It's $23. You are not being charged any additional cost. This is our cost for a dance bag. It's a nice cotton dance bag, a cute teddy bear. We've got two ribbon, I'll just use my cursor here. We've got two ribbon wrist, you know, my goodness, I'm talking so much, it's getting worse. You know what I'm talking about, ribbon, I keep saying ribbon rings, but whatever those are. These are bells, wrist bells, two of those, two egg shakers. There is a nice little bean bag. These scrunchies are for red for their right hand, purple for their left. This helps them learn right from left. And they've got two scarves and a crown and a wand. And the teachers will be using these in classes so that we are not, we don't need to worry about sanitizing all of our props. We do have props and prop carts that we use every year, but we are temporarily putting those aside. And this is also nice for those dancers who are at home. They will have the same props as those dancers in the studio. So other than the prop bag, let's talk about just preparing your dancer's bag in general. Dance bags really only need to contain items for dance and a homework or a book for those who are waiting. The reason why this is really important, parents, is when your dancer comes in to the individual class that they are in, they will be keeping their dance bag with them in that room. They're not going in the lobby and using the cubbies like they did before. Now Draper, that's different, right? Because they're entering into the lobby. But we will actually have taped spots in the room where they will be putting their dance bags, and that makes it so our younger children, they can change their shoes inside the classroom for those who can do it on their own. But because of that, we don't want overflowing bags of coats and snacks and teddy bears and blankets from home if they do not need to be in the bag. So please periodically look in your dancer's bag, make sure that, that it's cleaned out and they're only bringing what they need to. Everything in their dance bag really needs to have their first and last name. Go through, make sure your dancers' shoes have their names on, even if it is, you know, leotards or any items that typically might be left in a lost and found area. We're going to have to be very selective. We can't save every little thing, and especially if it is not labeled. If it's labeled, we can give you a call and let you know that your dancer has left things at the studio. We will not be keeping, however, a lost and found right now and throwing items in it. We will be calling parents when items are left, unless other items we will not be keeping. Unless, Jennifer, you decide to do something different with that policy. Those dancers who do have a prop bag, all of our little kids, we suggest that you use that as their dance bag. They only need a change of shoes, their snack, just keep everything in the same bag. All right, we're going to talk about other items that should be added temporarily to your dancer's bag due to COVID. We need every dancer to bring a water bottle that is labeled with their first and last name. I suggest putting ice and cold water in it so that they have that with them at the studio. Out of the recommendations from our local government, our drinking fountains need to remain closed at this time. Now, Jen and I, once again, we had a conversation yesterday. If there is a kid that is thirsty, right, and our drinking fountains are closed, they did not bring a water bottle, that is where it's important that you parents know that, yes, this safety is super important, but at the end of the day, we're going to take care of your child. And so if they're dying of thirst, whether we're popping, you know, getting a water bottle from the back or, you know, using that drinking fountain temporarily, you know, facilitated by our staff to get your child a drink, we will do that. But please bring water bottles. Also, a drawstring shoe bag. As the weather, hopefully we won't, again, I don't know how long this protocol will be in place, but we will be asking your dancers to remove their shoes from walking in. And again, they will be in the studio in our South Jordan facility. We want them to put those shoes in their dance bag. So to keep everything else in the dance bag nice, maybe get a shoe bag or just a little cotton drawstring bag that you can add in their dance bag to put their shoes that they take off. And then lastly, 1 to 3 clean face masks in a Ziploc bag. We'll talk more about masks in a moment. All dancers, even preschool dancers, they need to have access to a mask. Even if they are just coming in the studio, they should be wearing a mask when they enter and exit, but everybody, a mask at all times. I actually just purchased a bulk set of masks. They are cotton. If we need to facilitate your child with a mask for any reason, let's say they're waiting in the lobby, they forgot their mask, I have cotton masks. They would be $3 that we would charge to your account, and we will provide. We will not be providing limitless paper masks, as they are very expensive right now. We did try to do that this summer, and they were gone in like a week. But if you're older dancers, have them bring more if they choose to wear a mask in class, which we'll be talking about here in a moment. All of our kitchen facilities, our microwave, our refrigerators, that's in both locations, are temporarily closed to the students. So have them bring snacks that do not need to be refrigerated. Let's see. Okay, but we're not on the kitchen. That confused me for a minute. So putting their snacks in their bag, and then also the dance props for the younger kids. Make sure they have their props each time, because that would be really hard if they didn't. Jen, a quick reminder, that's something we haven't talked about. We probably better pull a couple of those prop bags aside so that we can use those for dancers who forget, and that we can sanitize those props after. And lastly, we would love for you to put a luggage tag on your dancer's bag this year with their name and your contact information, just so the dancers, if all the bags are in the studio, that if there are two bags alike, like our prop bags, all of those kids have luggage tags on their bags. All right, let's talk about protocol for classroom safety. I start to get a little chit-chatty as we go along, and I'm going to start being more brief so we can get through the material. All UDA staff, teachers, and dancers will have their temperature taken upon arrival. Our teachers do walk through the lobby. Our customer care will be doing well checks with them. All of your dancers will also have their temperature taken. Now, we're taking their temperature not to record at this time, but just to ensure that we're not bringing in a child who may be sick, but they will not be allowed to stay. Now, my heartstrings already start thinking about the kid that was dropped off. Their temperature was high, their parent wasn't aware, and all of a sudden they're not able to participate. So we do ask parents, like I said at the very beginning, that you are doing well checks before you send your child to dance, that they do not have a temperature of over 100.4 degree Fahrenheit. If a child does have a temperature, we will send them over to I'll be doing that in a minute. Again, dancers may still attend their regularly scheduled classes, again, from home using our tech facilities. Dancers, they come in, they're going to have their temperature checked, and immediately the teachers are going to put hand sanitizer on their hands right when they enter. Any dancer that needs to use the restroom, and again, our teachers are only allowed to let one child go to the restroom at a time, but they will also have to re-sanitize their hands upon re-entry of the studio. All of our classrooms, which we've talked about, they contain physical distancing markers on the floor. This one only has 2, but they will be all throughout on the floor. For the preschool kids, we have like 3 studios in each facility that have these squares taped on the floor for our preschool dancers to make their dancing very interactive in their little social distancing spot. So they have different colors around them, and the teachers have taken a workshop on how to utilize that for the enjoyment of your child. We also have bar markers, locators, so students know where they can hold on to the bar and where they need to stay. Prop use, hand holding, other partner work have been eliminated or modified right now, again, for safety and wellness. So continuing, each studio is equipped with a sanitation cart. We call it our sanitation station, and it includes a thermometer, a non-touch thermometer, hand sanitizer, disinfectant, microfiber cloths, fogger and a sprayer for us to quickly sanitize the big things in between classes like bars and tumbling mats, floors. And at the end of each class, teachers, with the help of students with these microfiber cloths, we will be asking, to help hurry and wipe things up and get ready for the next class, the next group of dancers coming in. All right, dancers' hands will also be sanitized once again at the very end of class, either before coming home or entering the halls to go to their next class. Any dancer who is not feeling well during class, we will take their temperature. That will be the first thing that we do. If their temperature is higher than 100.4, we will send them to the office, where the office will put a mask on them. They will take care of them, give you a call until you are able to pick up your child. And if a child, it's kind of like cry wolf. I'm just picturing all of the kids realizing that the second they say they're not feeling well, that we're going to send them to the office and send them home. And that we have to make sure that that doesn't happen either. Just a quick little story back when I was dancing, whenever rondejams came up at the bar, which is a bar exercise that you do about 3 or 4 exercises in, and it's very slow and boring. That is always when everybody had to go to the bathroom. I know that's when I would always say, can I go to the bathroom? And we need to let kids know that that is not going to work in this situation. So if they're not feeling well and the teacher has a good gauge of how the child's doing, we will take their temperature. If their temperature is not high and they seem to be okay, the teacher will have them mask and sit down and watch class, but it will not always be a reason for us sending kids home. All right, let's talk about masks in the classroom. Now, this is something, parents, that is a little bit of a touchy subject. And just so you know, we are facilitating 6-foot distancing in the classroom when I say, what's the word? You know, that is, oh my goodness, we're facilitating that, but sometimes that's not possible with children, right? If they're running around, which we're stating that policy in the beginning, but as we're following the 6-foot rule of distancing, physical distancing, we're not going to require masks in the classroom. However, our teachers and all of our staff will always be required to wear a mask, at least right now in the season that we are in, the current climate. But I do want to let you know that even though they're wearing masks, they will have to transition that mask, you know, at times to uncover their nose and mouth, to covering due to if they're trying to address a large group of dancers. We still have to kind of figure out how those microphones are going to work. You know, if that can go under, then we're going to be okay. Or if that mask is up while they're observing or coming close to your dancer to talk to them. This is where it starts, you know, a little tricky. Dancers are, however, we do strongly encourage dancers right now in this season or this temporary climate to wear masks in class. When right now you can't even enter a store without wearing a mask. You know, as a business owner, I feel that is definitely a reasonable request right now. However, I 100% understand that not everybody can, and I'm sensitive to that. So please don't feel that if your child's not wearing a mask that there is any, nobody's looking down or judging for that. We understand that everybody at this point, we give grace to everybody in their own situations. We're not going to judge, but we want everybody to feel comfortable. So like I said, even with all the plans and systems UDA has put into place, this is all I needed to say when I couldn't speak just a few minutes ago. We feel it is critically important to take additional responsibility for our own health and safety as well as others where we can. And in your guide, in your information, you did receive that additional document that talks about masking and other websites that you can look at. You know, as with anything, one can sit and argue why wearing a mask in dance is not healthy and why it's not a good idea. You can totally turn the coin and get doctors and educators who feel that it is okay. And so again, you are required, you know, that study's up to you. We did provide some information for you, but I do want to let you know, and I think I did share this in the information, that I know even right now, all of the dance students going into the University of Utah back to dancing, they are requiring masks from, you know, with their students, and I'm sure showing grace again to those who cannot, but this is not an uncommon practice right now with studios and companies nationwide. All right, teachers' responsibility in the classroom. This is the one thing that I just want all of you parents right now to ask yourself these questions, and again, humanizing the protocol that we are putting out. Teachers 100% understand that everybody has different degrees of comfort levels with COVID-19. That is again why we have allowed dancers to dance at home, or they can choose to dance in the studio. The health and safety, I need to tell you once again, has been our #1 priority in getting our dance year ready this year, not just for our dancers, but for the families that we serve, for our entire faculty and team. It is so important to me. That is #1 this year, is to make sure that we are abiding by those rules so people feel healthy, or people are healthy, and they know what to expect when they walk into our studio, that there aren't going to be any surprises. Now, with that said, with the numerous adjustments that we have made in our protocol, we acknowledge that our teachers are still there to care for your child. They are responsible for them while they are with them in their care. Children have needs, whether that is, you know, they can't get their shoe on, and or their shoe's hurting and they're crying. The teacher is going to go up and help your child with their emotional needs or physical needs if those are needed. And you know, hopefully that is well understood if you are coming in and you've chosen the in-studio option. Teachers are going to do their best to instruct and teach your child how to dance without constantly, putting their hands all over your child. However, that doesn't mean that they won't end up touching your child in order to facilitate, muscle memory, or to help them understand what they need to do, because they're teaching your child how to dance. And that's part of what you're paying for. But again, our teachers are staying healthy, they're sanitizing, they're wearing their masks. So what I want you parents to do is, if you are not comfortable with this, and you are choosing to come into the South Jordan facility and take your classes live with a classroom of students, we need to get an email from you as soon as possible, so that we can get that information to the teacher, so they know that at all costs they need to keep that 6 foot distance from your child, and stand clear of trying to take care of any of those needs. Or you give us the outline, we'll give it to the teacher. So again, so that you feel comfortable sending your child. These are also conversations that you should be having with your child before they start dance on Monday. What are the family rules? What are the things that, that you want them to make sure that they're doing? Obviously, the teacher will be following suit and protocol, but if you want to tell your dancer, if a student starts approaching, that they start stepping away, we can't control what all students are going to be doing. Once we see it, we can try to adjust that. All right, that was, after this, you guys, it is like short. It is like a minute of information. So let's do questions really quick with these precautionary measures.
I don't have any more questions at this time, unless they want to hurry and start typing. But I think so far you've covered about masks, and they were wondering about that, but I think we're good to go.
Okay, let me add, one thing I didn't include here, but I would assume that because we have sanitation stations in every studio. We have upped our cleaning regimen and routines at the studio upon the hour, where our customer care is going in and cleaning restrooms, especially high touch point areas, sinks, handles, and that is throughout the studio lobby, as well as the bathroom. So you can be comfortable knowing that. And just also take note that our Draper studio dancers who are in intensive this week, they all have been, again, unless they have a medical condition, they are actually required to wear masks this week, because we cannot, in that situation, contain. We have outside choreographers coming in, outside teachers. We can't always manage the 6 foot distance with them, so they are required. And there's a few students that have struggled, but overall everybody's done pretty well. Okay, lastly, you guys, we're going to talk about COVID communication this year, as sometimes, again, we are on the what was the word I used? I said I'm going to be using this word, and now I've already forgotten. Everything's timely, right? We are on. Jen, you're supposed to help me remember. Do you remember that word I used? Parent, you can type it in. Anyway, that we are on time. It's the timely, in the moment we're making those decisions. So our communication has to be done quickly. People are going to need to know things very immediate. If again, all of a sudden someone comes out and says schools are closed, everybody's going home, and you're wondering what's going on, we want to make sure that we can guide this communication quickly and easily. So with that in mind, in order to ebb and flow, UDA will adhere to continuous parent communication using the following communication systems and methods. First of all, UDA's continuous parent notification system. What this is, we will be using to notify parents of COVID's most current risk level and phase, and how it will relate to the studio's operation status, meaning are we closed, are we open, where are kids supposed to be taking their classes. We're going to do this by using a green, yellow, and red emoji system, which is on the homepage of our website. You've probably seen the little yellow emoji, which I just changed to green, so everybody knows that we are starting classes, you are coming to the studio. And we will also be using it on our social media platforms, so that we can seamlessly direct traffic to the appropriate service channel if you have questions. So let's just talk about that really quick. If a red emoji pops up on our, our website or on social media, basically this means that we have been given strict instruction from our state government that we need to close our facility. And so temporarily, dancers will all be attending their classes virtually through our tech-enabled facilities. And so that's pretty clear. Now yellow, we have had yellow on our website this summer, but that basically indicates that we are in a cautionary change to service delivery, depending on what is going on around us. So parents, for further instruction, obviously if that yellow's sitting there, if it pops up all of a sudden, it means you need to look at your email and stay tuned to social media to get more information on what we will be doing, but you will be receiving more information. And then green, of course, is where we hope to be as soon as possible, which indicates that it's safe to attend regular classes. Well, we are, let me preface, the state has its own, green, orange, yellow, red. That is not the system that we are using. So keep in mind that these are being used differently. When we have a green up on our website, that doesn't mean that the state is in green, or, that just means that your kids can come to class as normal. So keep in mind, we always want to be in a state of green so our kids can be coming to the classroom as we are following our social distancing measures. All right, you guys, really quick, before we just do some final Q&A, and again, at the very beginning, I did bring up to all of you that our other measures of communication. So we will not have these formal events happening all the time, but you can always stay tuned to what's going on through our other ways of communication, which I shared at the beginning. Before I open it up to any more questions, I do want to share how we are approaching our recital this year. So last year, if you were with us, you know that we ended up recreating our recital 3 separate times. And this year, my goal is that we are in a theater once again, doing our recital how we always have done it. And that was my plan, actually, to just start planning for that. But out of good counsel from my team, we thought that we always should start the year knowing what we can do, and then pivot to what we hope to have happen as we get closer. So right now, again, I don't like to say this is my end goal, but we're just planning to do what we did last year until otherwise we know that schools are going to accept our reservations. I will be calling actually on Monday, trying to get our reservation back with Corner Canyon for this year. But just know that, again, we are, I'm going back to that word, it's timely. It's like daytime, we're making those decisions on a daily basis. So because of that, we have shared that up until the end of November, you are able to drop your classes at UDA and get a full refund for your recital deposit up until November 30th. If once we jump in and we can kind of see how the climate goes, if you're not, liking this and you don't want to commit to the recital, you are welcome to, drop out of that by the end of November, and we will gladly refund your recital deposit that you will be, that everybody needs to pay in October. But if you do not drop by that time, you are committed to whatever recital we end up having. And for those of you who are not a part of UDA, that sounds scary, but I hope that those of you who are with us, that we have proven to you that we will keep our word, that no matter what happens, we are creative, we are resourceful, and we will do our best to facilitate the best experience we can, that possible. Our red carpet recital event was pretty awesome. We had a lot of parents actually who favor that and would like their children to have that experience every year. So just out of our history and truly just, as a whole, we have been in business for 20 years. Like I said at the beginning, UDA is known for our excellence in all that we do. We hope that we have earned your trust by going through that bumpy road, and as we continue, that you feel comfortable knowing that we will continue to do our best no matter what comes our way, and we will end up delivering. But if you have questions about recital, hopefully that kind of gives you a point of reference, but feel free to ask those questions as well. So yes, anybody who has questions, please type those in right now. I'll have Jen facilitate a final round of questions, and then I am happy to close the meeting, but also everybody can open up their microphones and we can have an open chat for anybody who just prefers talking back and forth. I'm happy to stay on the call. Everybody else, you don't need to. Jen, you certainly don't need to. Are there any more questions that have come through our chat?
No, I think we're good. I've typed a little bit, but for the most part, I think we're done.
Okay, someone's asking about the red carpet recital. I will talk about that in just a moment, Rebecca, and explain that. Just one final note, really quick. This experience for us as a business, it has been the most challenging thing that we have ever been through in our history of having the business. And one reason why I really wanted to have this family chat was so that you could see my face, that you could, get a feel of who I am as a person. I really believe that, people's essence and who they really are come through in conversation, face to face. And, when COVID broke out last March, again, as you can imagine, a studio owner closing my doors to business and trying to figure out how to sustain that. And in my conversations with the studio owners, around the country with More Than Just Great Dancing, I definitely put on my armor. Not armor, it was the armor of I'm a leader. I'm gonna direct my team and our parents and our students. We're going to, chart through this straightforward and put on our armor and be strong and be resistant. But behind the closed doors, there were a lot of tears and my goodness, my team, I'm looking at Tangi, one of our teachers who's joining us, exercising. So proud of you. I've exercised for over 5 months. Jennifer Browning. It's been really hard. And I'm okay to say that. I'm doing my best to be a strong leader. But the thing that I don't want you to ever feel like when you are getting emails and documents and written documentation, that behind the scenes there isn't someone who's very caring, and it might come across as cold or heartless or inhuman. But I hope that through this meeting that you can see that is not the case. That is not who I am. I actually run very much off my heart, which I have to keep that in check in times like this. But I'm so appreciative of all of you parents who are here supporting our business during this crazy time. I greatly appreciate it. And I want to make you happy. I can't always do that. I won't be able to always do that. And as we get ready to enter into the dance season, I want to normalize. We will have kids who will get sick. We will have faculty that will get sick. I mean, we've heard kids going back to school in Georgia quickly to turn back around and, they're back in quarantine. Those things, that's why we have worked so hard to come up with this protocol, because any of those things can, and I don't want to say probably, no, we don't want those to happen, but we will do our very best. And I am always available. You can always send an email to Jennifer Browning that can be sent to me, so you can talk to me personally. I usually will call you. I've had a few Zoom meetings with parents, and I'm happy to do that, but I really want to make your year a good one. and that you're happy with your dance education under these circumstances. So we will close this meeting. If any of you want to stay and open up your mic, it might just be you and me, but that's okay. If you all leave, that's okay too. But I'm excited to have you on Monday and start the dance year. So thank you so much for joining us today.
Bye, everybody. See you Monday.
Thanks, Jen, you're amazing. And I appreciate you, you guys. We could not do this without amazing team members like Jennifer Browning, who has been carrying a huge load for 5 months.
Thank you.
You said a comment at the beginning where it was like, we've been working really hard this week. And I started like laughing and crying inside going, what, Jen? This has been going on for 5 months. So thank you for all that you do.
You bet.
All right, guys, open up those mics if you want to continue chatting. I'm happy to do that. And you know what, really quick before, it is hard, and I understand if you don't want your videos open, but I won't even really know, well, no, I will, right? Because the yellow screen will highlight who's chatting. But feel free to open your mic and possibly if your video is on, just kind of maybe like raise your hand so at least we don't have everybody talking all at once. So, oh, it said, I just had a teacher say, I tried to turn on my camera, but it's not allowing me. But anyway, all right. Yay, hi. We have, is that you, Angie?
Yeah, finally.
Yes, Angie, hi. I'm glad you decided to join us.
Well, I've been having trouble, but I had to reload it like 20 times.
Okay. And it's okay, parents, if you don't want to pipe in. It's just, okay, so those, if I can see your face and you want to just kind of, or people can just start talking and usually your screen will light up. We might have people who forgot that they were on Zoom and now they are, you know, making lunch for their children. Is your name Alex? Yes, Alex, what are your questions? And you know what, I'll unmute you, Alex. Or you might have to unmute yourself. So go up in your.
Can you hear me?
I can.
Oh, great. There we go. So, so we're new this year and we're super excited, and I'm so grateful for all that you're doing, and I've been very impressed. It means a lot. And so I'm just, so my daughter will also be going to preschool, and I've noticed some other parents are kind of in the same boat that way. And so I know we have our orientation coming up next week, and will we kind of have a similar dialogue with Shireen to kind of go over some of the stuff with preschool?
I would imagine, Alex, Shireen is so incredible, as maybe you know, if you've been to the preschool yet. If you haven't, it's amazing.
Yes.
But Shireen she is on task. She's definitely a director, and we don't always connect with everything. I mean, the important things. So I don't know exactly how she's going to be conducting her meeting, but I would imagine it will be very, very similar to some degree. In fact, I'm just going to make a note really quick. I will actually send Shireen the copy of this meeting, just, you know, so she can see how we facilitated that. And I will also let her know that there are parents that are hoping she's covering, you know, similar measures. I can't imagine that she won't be, but in her own way. Yeah.
No, that's fantastic. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Angie?
So I have a question. You had mentioned that they had to have tights and leotards, but would that still apply with the ballroom dancers? Is it still the black skirts and the black leotard and stuff?
No, yeah. So in your parent guide, the first guide that you received, it does talk about dress code, and everybody's dress code stays the same this year. We did have to get new little blue leotards for our preschool dancers because the other ones were discontinued. But we even will allow preschool dancers to wear their leotard until it, you know, wears out and they need to get a new one. So yes, to answer your question, it's the same
as last year. Okay.
Right. Yes. Oh, yes. And then Rebecca, I'm going to answer. Rebecca, I'm going to open up my chat. Maybe some of you are asking through through chat some of these questions. So Rebecca, I am happy to also talk to you about what that red carpet event was. Yes, so Brad Borbans, but that's not, you'll have to unmute your mic and tell me your name.
Oh, Haley.
Hi, Haley.
Hi.
What is your
Yes.
question?
Just the preschoolers. So if they don't start school till next week, do I bring her to her dance class this week?
Yes, that's a good
Okay.
question. So dance does start on Monday, and preschool does not start, I believe, until the 24th. You parents would know. But again, let me re-emphasize, or I guess make very clear that if your preschooler is participating in virtual instruction in any form, like especially through dance, we still have to set up 3 of our TVs in Draper. And so is your child doing virtual or is it in studio?
In studio.
Yeah, so they just come as normal. They will come as normal.
Okay.
And when I went through that protocol, it might have got a little confusing if you sat through all of it, but parents are still, we want the parents to come in, get their child ready for dance. Again, if your child needs to use the restroom, we want you to stay. If, all of that protocol still applies. Now, I know that once preschool starts, that's one of the added benefits of doing dance after preschool because the parent goes to work, right? So their kids are in the classroom and then they go to work and then they go to dance. And some of our parents at the Draper, because it's used for, I don't want to say childcare, but an extended period of time, some parents may not be coming back to sit with their child, but we are working out that situation. So we have someone who is assisting the children if they need to use the restroom. But again, once again, understand we're not able to social distance if we're helping your child with that, which we've done in past years.
Okay. Yeah, the jazz tap combo.
Uh-huh.
When I went to the place, they didn't give me tights. They said she would be barefoot. So do I not need tights for jazz tap combo preschool?
No, you don't. So they will wear their tap shoes, and you can send a pair of socks for them to put on the socks and wear the tap shoes if they don't want to do bare feet. The reason why we've done that, and yes, bare feet, people might be like, we have bare feet on the floor. Is that safe, right? Well, I'll tell you what, shoes, bare feet, whatever. But we didn't want to have to charge preschool parents, and this is how it's been for years, another pair of dance shoes, like a 40 pair when they're just standing for 20 minutes and, so we do like them to be in bare feet, or they can wear socks. That's fine too. All right, Haley, thanks. Okay, Rebecca, do you want to know what this red carpet event was? Are you, unmute your mic if you don't mind really quick. Are you new then to Utah Dance Artists this year?
Yeah.
Okay.
So my daughter is 3, so she'll be just starting to dance out for the first time.
Okay, perfect. Which is so exciting to see a brand new parent entering the world of dance under these conditions is a little crazy. Yeah, so last year at UDA, our recitals were known for the quality recitals that we put on every year. Anyway, we go all out. And so this year when we had our recital scheduled at Corner Canyon High School, which is where we have held our event the past couple of years. And they held our dates until, oh my goodness, about a month before recital when they dropped them. And so everything that we had planned, to go into the facility and sell our tickets and be up on the stage and have an audience, it all of a sudden changed. And so we had to reimagine, in the ending, the last time we had to figure out how we were going to hold a recital and make sure that it was going to happen and it would be seen through. And so we called it our red carpet event, where we provided 2 recital experiences. One was a virtual recital online through Zoom, where kids participated and they invited their families to come online and watch. But the other was that children could bring their parents, and they went to our Draper facility, and it became, we called it a red carpet event because it wasn't just them performing their dance for their parents. They got to walk the red carpet in their costume when they got there. They had a photo shoot, you know, a VIP photo shoot with our photographer. They had their big performance moment in the studio, and then they also had a little a little end event where they received a gift. So we ended up doing the same thing that we're doing this year, where we measured the studios and figured we can have this many kids and parents in the studio, you know, safely and hold the event. So some of our classes were divided into 2 groups, but we had like curtains brought in and balloon arches and red carpets and stanchions, and we made it in, you know, turned lemon into lemonade and just made it the best experience that we could, but we called it our red carpet event. And it's something that it was really awesome because the kids got a lot of personal attention, especially like the little kids. Instead of going on a big scary stage, some feel that way, and some of the parents really enjoyed this. So again, it opens the doors to new opportunities, but really we do want to get back into the theater and, you know, have seats and use our big, you know, we put big, beautiful pictures and things on the back scrim image. We want to, that's our end goal, and we hope we can do that.
So is the plan probably like to be doing the red carpet event, and then if everything goes well, then we'll go to the theater, but we should just plan on probably having the red carpet for now?
I'll lay that out. This week I am going to call Corner Canyon High School and try to get our event scheduled for, it's usually the second weekend in June. And so at least we have those dates scheduled, and that we know that is, it really is the plan. But again, as I keep trying to go back to that word, like we're in real time. It's real time. All decisions have to be made in real time. We can't plan too far ahead. So by the end of November, I hope we have enough information to know how things are going that I can, you know, I can't confidently say, but, you know, I can at least say we have our date set. That's the plan. But yes, time will only tell. If we will not probably be pretty solid in knowing until, I can't even say that. Last year, it was a week before, right? The end goal is to get back into the theater. The thing that you need to know as a parent is at the end of November, if you're thinking, I don't want to spend the money, because you're not only spending a recital fee to have your child participate, but you're paying a costume fee. Right. And if you're going to put out that money, you want to be committed to whatever ends up happening. We're going to participate in that. Where last year, people didn't have, you know, they just didn't have that option. They paid the money. UDA, I'm probably giving you more information than you need to know. Right. We start paying out our recital help. Those who orchestrate the entire event starts the 1st of July, typically. So last year, when we got to May, and people are like, well, I want my recital fee back because we're not doing, I had already spent $30,000 in payroll for scheduling, and, you know, that was not even the recreating, you know. So anyway, this year we're not diving into all of that because we want to be able to give the money back. But after November, we will be facilitating, you know, work for recital. And so I think I've made myself clear, right, Rebecca? I just keep talking.
Oh, yeah, you're great. No, you're great. You're great. So I know you said there was like the virtual recital, and then there was a red carpet one. At the red carpet one, is it just parents probably that are able to attend that? Or is it like zoomed in where like grandparents can watch it online too? Or what, is it anything like that?
So last year, again, everything was still kind of so new. We made the requirement that only 2 parents, like a mom and a dad, or, you know, 2 guests, 2 guests could attend. And then we allowed parents to FaceTime or live stream the event while they were in watching their child dance, so everybody at home could. The
Okay.
virtual event took place a week prior, and we actually made that our dress rehearsal. And we sent out invitations for our parents to send out invitations to come to that. So, you know, knowing whether, no matter the mandate that is given at that time, we can only successfully seat, so many people in a room for a class performance. So I would imagine it would have to be similar, that you're bringing 2 guests if we do that again.
Okay. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for taking the time to explain that. I just wanted to make sure I kind of knew what the options were when we were able to make that decision in November. So anyway,
I'm going to tell you in all confidence, Rebecca, I am so happy that your first dance experience under this COVID situation is with UDA, because we do navigate
excited.
very, again, thoughtfully, and we've thought everything out. And so it should still, under these conditions, be a really good experience.
I've heard wonderful things, and my daughter's been wearing her tap shoes and ballet shoes every day since we got there. So she's super excited.
That's a good sign. That's a good sign.
Yeah.
Well, good luck. Let me know if there's anything else. All right.
Oh,
Thanks,
awesome.
Rebecca.
Thank you.
All right. I've got Alex and Justina and Katie and Angela Parsons. I can't see your face, and your mics are muted. So unless you unmute your mic and ask any questions, or if I see your face. If not, I guess our meeting has come to a close, unless Rebecca has any more questions. You're good? All right, you guys, thank you so much for joining me, and enjoy the rest of your Saturday and weekend. Oh, okay, let me just look in the chat. No more questions. It was awesome. Okay, I think we're good. All right, everybody, thank you. Bye-bye.